hands.
All right, it is going and going and going and going.
You're a little delayed and froze on my end, Mo.
Cause I'm on this other thing.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Angie, where you at? If you don't mind me asking.
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
Yep,
I was
Chicago.
I was just telling Mo that I was in your neck of the woods this past fall for the first time.
Oh, now you're in New York or Jersey or Philadelphia?
I'm in Philly, yeah, right now.
Philly. Okay, I gotcha.
Right now, look right now.
I
So,
can hear it in your
Let me
voice.
find out you be out here in these streets moving around like me.
I wherever you send me, I go. So this was a short stop. I knew that though when I came here, but I want to be settled.
Yeah.
I want to be settled. Yes. And look, who could keep a man or get a man, and I can't. I'm moving on. That's probably why he's doing it. Oh, move there. Oh, move there. Oh, move there.
Hold on, I'm almost there. We're live, though. I'm just sharing it.
Hey,
y'all want me to tag y'all in the share?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Ooh, Tiff all the way at the bottom of the list.
We'll talk about the stress weight that, like, I can attest to that, and because one of my things is emotional eating.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when I'm stressed, that's what I do. And then, the cortisol and all of that, and it be right here in the middle. I mean, all over, but right in the middle. So I get it.
Okay, so I just want to pull us up on YouTube so I can watch the comments for those who will be chatting with us there. And to those of you who are joining us, welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Confessions and Conversations with your girl, your host with the most, your favorite chick to chit chat with, Miss Mo. And tonight, I got a few of my peeps hanging out with me as we discuss living single and sassy after 40. All right, so tonight we have Miss Danielle. And we have Miss Tangie. Y'all remember her from one of our other episodes. What was that one about, T?
I don't know, but it took a turn for something else, so I don't remember.
Yes, ma'am, it did. And then we also have my girl returning, Miss Tiffany. She was also on that episode. Tiff, do you remember what it was?
What was that episode? I remember.
It has something to do with the woman.
Oh, the Black woman.
That's it. Well, either way, if y'all go check us out in the archives, that one is out there. It was an amazing show. It was me, Tiff, Tangie, and Carmen, right? Mm-hmm. Great time. That was around the time I was doing it Between Brothers and Sisters. And I had a couple of episodes with just the fellas, and Lords have entire mercy. Those conversations definitely went in other directions. And one of them, I thought I was going to snatch my earrings out and go a little hood on them because they was coming for the ladies. But, they was kind of accurate, you know what I'm saying? But I digress. Tonight, we're talking about living single and sassy after 40. So that means all of us on here have already graced that 40 threshold. We're still sassy and serving it. Come on. Y'all see all of this on the screen tonight. Everybody looking fabulous. And all of us are actually single. Now, I mentioned the fact that I had 2 episodes with Between Brothers and Sisters when it was me and some of the fellas. Come back in 2 Fridays. That's May the 21st. And we'll be back here for part 2 of this discussion. And we'll have some of our brothers joining us. And we'll be talking about specifically dating after 40. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. But those are all of the announcements to give you guys time to join us and all of that good stuff so we can go ahead and jump in the conversation. I don't want nobody to think I'm being rude. I'm not on my phone. My questions are just in my phone. So first, I want to start by saying thank you, ladies, so much for agreeing to join me.
Thank you for
and
having me.
for calling in on time, all that good stuff, because we was ready. It's just my technology. So without further delay, we're going to jump right in. So I was cruising the social media streets. And those of you that are joining us, you can drop your where you're calling or checking in from in the chat so we can communicate with you over here. All right, but I was perusing through the social media streets and I found this little post and it said, in order for us to reap the benefits, our support system must be functional and utilized. And I thought that was really dope. But even as I heard that, one of the things that stood out to me was your support system. Not only does it have to be utilized and functional, but it has to be intact. You know what I'm saying? You have to have, it has to be healthy. You know, I was listening to this video. It was an interview between Pastor Furtick and Bishop Jakes. And he was talking about a young lady, and so it had like how she was and she was dressed, and she said one of the things that his wife would say when he would see certain things on women, she would say either she didn't have a friend or she didn't have a mirror. But basically, you know, our friends are supposed to help us hold it together and, you know, help us present ourselves in the best light. So I want to start right there because I know most people think when you hear single and sassy, we start to talk about single, dating, who got a man, who don't got a man, who want a man, who don't want a man, all that, so on and so forth. And in this day and age, if every woman don't want a man, some of them want some sisters too. So, you know, it's out there. That ain't my cup of tea. But that's part of the conversation as well. But what I want to talk about is, do you feel like your circle, because we just came through a pandemic. Well, actually, we're still in the middle of it. Or I don't know if we're in the middle, the end. I don't know where we at, but it's still a pandemic. Do you feel like during this pandemic, you really understood the value of your circle? A lot of people, like you learn who people are in time of crunch or whatever the case. I learned a lot during this pandemic, and I want to know, do you feel like you learned the value of your circle, or did it teach you something different about your circle or sisterhood that you have?
I would say, I guess I'll start. I would say yes, because, you know, during this time, there was greater loss than most times, right, in our lifetime. So, you know, you find at those times you need somebody to lean on aside from everyday stuff, right? Everyday stuff, you know, you kind of try to handle on your own, but then every now and again you turn to a girlfriend or turn to someone that you trust, right, to kind of either, you know, get a voice of wisdom or just to bounce off of, just to vent. But during this time, yeah, we needed each other more than usual. And so, you know, and it's really hard to kind of say whether that person was like strong or functional because we were all going through. You know what I mean? So it's like when you go to lean on somebody that's usually strong, but they're weak at the same time too, you can't, you know, it's kind of hard to kind of judge at that moment because there was nobody that was untouched, you know? But I would say kind of, you know, if it was pre-pandemic, you know, the person wasn't all that solid, and then you couldn't find them during the pandemic, then 9 times out of 10, they just not there. That's not their, you know, cup of tea to be your support, you know, or to be that functional, because they're support, but they're the opposite, dysfunctional. You know what I mean? So.
Okay. Well, for me, my circle is very small, like a dot. Um, I think it's I have allowed myself to allow it to grow.
Mm.
And one reason is during this pandemic, we've been doing ministry online. And my pastor is Pastor Reggie Rural at Lifeline Ministries.
We ain't doing shout outs up in here. No, just playing.
Your email said that too. I read it. Apparently Tiffany didn't, but we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that on the back end. Go ahead.
Let me let y'all know he's a part of this little piece right here. So one of our models this year was not to do, well, during this pandemic, was not to do life alone. And so that kept ringing and ringing in my spirit because, again, like I said, my circle is very small. It's a dot. So I talk to who I talk to, and I have a very close relationship, mainly with my family.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we're like our own circle alone. And then I have a few, you know, of my sisters. So during this pandemic, I kept hearing the Holy Spirit say, open up, reach out, connect with your ministry. And I actually did. And now I'm realizing my little dot of a circle has now formed into a square. And in those four corners, yeah, like now I have an outer body, you know, with the circle being in the little dot in the middle. And now I have a little circle of a group of women and, you know, my ministry family who's, you know, been standing with me, we, you know, praying together. So this pandemic has really, you know, took me in a whole nother direction. Because when I tell you, I had some major trust issues. The Holy Spirit was dealing with me during this pandemic. And it was quite amazing because it's like those who I wanted to reach out to, like those comfortable areas, God was like, you got to get out of there. You got to step outside of this realm. You know what I'm saying? So now it's time for you to connect with others. So that's what I've noticed during this pandemic.
Well, you know, I'm going to want to unpack some of them trust issues as this show progresses, but we going to go ahead. Miss Bailey.
For me, the pandemic kind of, I don't know if it was a pandemic or just my own interpersonal things kind of made me tap into myself. So I don't know, yeah, like in little things like having my groceries delivered, having prescriptions delivered, just automating a lot of things just outside of my bank, just outside of, you know. So I kind of tapped into myself a little bit more. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I can definitely see the downside to it because I kind of I'm an introvert. I'm an extrovert introvert, but I can see where it's kind of made me more introverted. But I can also see where it may kind of strengthen me in other areas. So I don't know.
So you pointed out something that I want to kind of attest to. So one of the things we hear a lot of times about women is that whole superwoman syndrome that a lot of us carry or suffer from, or whatever you want to call it or whatever. So I did this before in a different conversation. I can't remember who was a part of it, so we're going to do it here. And so since we're talking about being after 40, some things for me just changed. That morning that I woke up on November 7th for my 40th birthday, I had a whole new mindset, and it wasn't necessarily all that godly, but it was good. Now, the thing about it is I really, when I look back over my life, I see the difference in how I responded to life, how I handled things. And like now I'm not rushing to do nothing. We're going to plan this thing out, make it happen. I leave time for some other things to come up. I don't feel like I necessarily still feel the need to wear that cape, or at least that cape don't represent what it used to represent. So being over our 40, are there any things you notice different about you as a woman than prior to, like your drive, your goal, your mentality? Like I was always I couldn't sit still. Now I still struggle with sitting still. When I sit still, I tend to eat a lot. That's why I think I can't get this weight off, because I'm an emotional eater. And when I don't have nothing to do, when I'm bored, if it's food, I might eat then too. So it's so many different things that tie into that. But what do you guys sense different about yourselves? That sassiness about you, what's different now than prior to your 40s? Like, what about you has really changed that stood out the most to you guys?
Who's gonna go first?
Any one of y'all ain't got to go in the same order.
I don't know. For me, I'm learning to be more honest with myself and more honest with people, and not sugarcoating it. If I don't want to do something, I'm gonna say I don't want to do something. If I don't like something, I'm gonna tell you I don't like something. If we having a healthy discussion about something and I don't go with what that person is saying just for the sake of agreeing with that person. Another thing that I've learned to tap into is learning how to ignore some things. Like learning how to ignore some things, learning how to ignore some people, and also being a voice of reason to other people. Like, hey, so and so, so and so. Like today, there was a discussion about calling another female ugly, and I'm just one of those people. I don't think that females are ugly.
You think males are ugly?
Well, I'm
trying to see where the line is. Go ahead.
I'm only addressing it with the females. It's always been my issue with females. I don't think that women are ugly because I just don't. So that was one of my things that I was sharing with people, just how we uplift other females and different things like that, and how we speak to one another, and how we can uplift one another. So I think for me with 40 and 40 plus years or whatever, I'm just learning how to be a more positive presence for other people, and speaking up for myself, and just not letting people think it's one thing when it's something else. So,
Don't be walking around here too sassy, snapping the folks up though.
and see, that's the thing. It's not one of those type things. It's a real. We froze. Oh, I thought you said we. I thought I heard. It's not a sassy thing. It's more of a. I hate to say this, like in the presence of something like you become a big sister in a sense when you're trying to be the voice of reason behind some things, So.
I hear you.
Well, for me, let me speak. 40. I'm gonna say this. I'm 40 plus and fabulous.
Come on.
I tell y'all, my 40s have brought me so much joy. One reason is because I have 3 babies. They're not babies anymore. 22, 21, and 18. So
oh wow.
My youngest is about to graduate from high school. So, in my 30s and, they're on, it was mama had to be superwoman. Come to school, especially when they was little, 3 different daycares, 3 different schools, work, come home, take care of the house. I was a wife, try and satisfy the husband, it was a lot going on. So now it's like, my baby girl has a car. My oldest has a car. My son, he's still working on it. Sometimes boys move a little slower than girls, but he has some enthusiasm about himself. He getting there. But he's very independent. So he don't mind jumping in an Uber, taking a train, doing none of that. So now it has relieved a lot of pressure off of me. So now in my 40s, I can focus on me. Now I don't seem like overwhelmed and, confined to, I have to pick them up from work at 8 o'clock and I have to do this and I have to get this one to the orthodontist and this one got to go to the doctor. No, they can do those things on their own now. Y'all just don't know. Mama has removed her superwoman hat And she is living for her right now. So going back to what Tangi said, I have been focusing in on me, taking some time for me, and enjoying life. So 40 is great. 40
That's what's up. Cause baby, you was taxi cab go beep, beep, beep. Road runner 24/7 all the time. So praise God. Come on, Miss Danielle.
My last show.
Uh-huh.
Riding around. Y'all, today I was
standing in the alley
early. 8 minutes early. But y'all check out that show because it was good. But I was 8 minutes early. I was the first one. I'm never the first one. But see, now that I have that time and that freedom,
you can pace yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm 40 plus. So
what that plus mean?
I said I'm 40 plus. So I'm beyond my 40s. I'm 50 and fabulous.
Come on, looking good.
Thank you. I turned 50 this year, a couple months ago. So I am pretty much, thank you, ladies. Look, I don't look like what I've been through. So like Tiffany, I was a wife at that time and a mother of 4. And so I still had my cape on. And it was in my early 40s where, I got divorced, but that cape and that motherhood and all those, responsibilities don't cease, right? Don't end. So in general, I'm the type of person that I'm a helper, right? We as women are nurturers in general. So I'm a helper, and I found myself always coming to the rescue for everybody else, right? And so it wasn't really until I think my divorce that I really had to take that time to really find myself. And I was going to start chapter 2 of my life. And then God was like, hold up, wait a minute. I don't know if he didn't like the direction I was going in, because now I'm raising one of my grandkids almost like he's my own. And I'm like, okay, God, I wasn't ready for this. So it's almost like when I took the cape off, then I had to put it back on, because not only for him, but for my mom, because my mom is older. So I got to the point where, the love doesn't end, but you get tired. You get tired of wearing that cape. You get tired of, flying around rescuing everybody else, and you don't have that time for yourself. Like, Tangi was saying, just come into yourself. And like, I was talking to you before, I'm also an introvert, and people would think I'm an extrovert, but I'm not. And that's because I'm sociable. But at that time, we need as women to kind of, reboot and to release all that stuff. Because when we wear that cape, oh my God, like it seems like we're limitless, but we do have our limits, and we get tired and wore out, and and things wind up happening within ourselves. And if not, mentally, emotionally, physically, that stuff comes out though in some other kind of way if we don't take that time that we need for ourselves, or we don't take that cape off and just sit down for a minute, all the way down. Absolutely. And look, not find a seat, find a whole bench and just lay on it.
Stretch out.
Right. But I had to come to the point recently of, I had to, when it comes to grown folk, I gotta be careful not to make everybody else's emergency my emergency. I had to make that decision, because if not, I will be across the highway and lickety split. And people know that. My family knows that. Those who are connected to me know that. And I had to stop myself, because if we don't stop ourselves, we don't want anything else stopping us, So, yeah.
One of the things you said that I thought was so good was about our limits. And what I found is, once I got over that threshold of 40, first of all, this body has its own sound system, right? There are sounds that it was making that it did not make before I crossed that 40 threshold. Let me tell you something. I was like, now wait one whole minute. Didn't nobody tell me about the soundtrack that came with the 40. But I digress. I've gotten used to it. You know what I'm saying? You get aches now. I be like, hold up. I'm talking about I used to be able to flip out the bed, run, and be gone. Now it's like, you know, you stretching to do all of this thing, but we still get up and we get it done. You understand what I'm saying? That's us always making it happen. Now, one thing that I want to touch on that you guys, all of you all are parents. And so one of the questions that I was going to ask is, are you guys all empty nesters? And so it seems like, well, 2 of you are, 1 of you isn't. But what's that difference like in experience in that? Like, I know Tiff, you kind of got a glimpse of it because even though some of your kids are still at home, they independent and doing their thing, so you got that liberty. But for those of you who your children are completely gone, what is that like?
But see, I'm like Danielle. My kids are grown, but I'm the primary caregiver for my grandson.
That's right, y'all did say that. Well, you didn't say that, but I know that about you. But I do remember she said that.
None of us are empty nesters. I started over.
I guess y'all will get it one day.
Now my situation was unique in a sense because my grandson is disabled and he's only 3. And that was just the best. This was just the best situation for him as a family, we felt like. So although my kids are grown, they're 22 and 23, my grandson is here. And he comes with a whole another set of needs that they didn't come with. So it's not like I'm raising I'm raising a what do they call it, a symptomatic, or not asymptomatic, but a atypical, right? Not asymptomatic. We rebuke you, Satan.
What okay? Going on around these parts?
We rebuke you, okay? But an atypical child, then it would have been really different. But he eventually came with a whole nother set of things. So it was, I ain't an empty nester. But he is easier than they were put together.
Interesting.
Even with all the specialty appointments and the hospital, Monique knows the hospitalizations and the hospital equipment. He easier with just the one than those 2 than those 2 was.
I had babysat her kids they were little. And her son came out of the room and he was like, Jesus turned into the devil. And me and my sister was like, wait, what? Listen, these kids around these parts are hilarious. So
you'll be happy to know now.
Boy, so like he a full grown dude now. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you'll be happy to know now he puts up posts like God is my source. And he puts up inspirational posts, and then he can put up a thug post, and then he can be posting his 6-foot snakes, Mercy. 2 dogs, a rabbit.
Mercy.
And 4
it's like Dr. Doolittle over there.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Listen. So here's what we want to go ahead and drive into this whole single thing because
let me throw my 2 cents in there about being partially an empty nester. I can't. Yeah.
She excited.
Yeah. There's some excitement there. There's some. So my oldest, she has her own apartment, and she has my grandbaby who's 4, and she's currently pregnant now. I am so excited for her. But she moved out. She took the grandbaby with her because my grandbaby is like super energetic. I mean, y'all just don't know. But her moving out, she kind of took her other 2 siblings with her.
Oh, wow.
So they're always over their sister house. So sometimes I come home and I'm by myself.
God.
It's quiet, or, and then the youngest, she's getting ready to go off to college, My son, he's been to college before, so that was kind of hard, having him gone, but he's kind of quiet. So, I tell him he needs to ring a bell, clap his hands or something, let me know he's here. He's
Get the Holy Ghost.
Since he was little, he just get in his own little space. But it's a joyful fulfillment, but it's a different type of worry too at the same time. Because like when they're in your household, you have rules and regulations that they have to follow. And the Bible say train up a child in the way they should go. So you give them all of this teaching, all of this love, all of this training. And then when they get out there on their own, it's like,
you already know.
Right. I wonder what they got going on over there. So a lot of times I do pop-ups because I'm like, y'all always at y'all sister house. Like, what's going on? Is this the party, house, or what do you guys
got? That's why mama ain't invited.
Yeah. So no, but here's the thing, they do invite me. They said, well, Mom, you can come. It's like, why do I want to come? I just got
they know you ain't coming on.
But at the same time, it's not like they're under my parental supervision, and sometimes when you young adults and teenagers, you kind of want to do your own little thing, and mama ain't around, well, mama can't tell me what to do because this is my house. So it becomes a different
yes, you can.
Worry, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, there's a joy there. So it's like I had to find some balance. Yeah.
So we got Miss Marsha checking in here on the chat. She's telling us she's a happy empty nester. Marsha, I know you had no little people. And then she said you're always going to be concerned about your children.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. I'd be concerned about mine too, although I ain't birthed not damn one. Hallelujah. So let's jump into this singleness. So now, Tiff, we talked about on the previous show, and you kind of mentioned it here that you were married, which means you're no longer married. Tangi, you've not been married, although you've claimed Idris. We understand how that goes. And Miss Day, I can't remember if I heard that in your conversation or something you were saying. Were you ever married?
I'm divorced, yeah.
Okay. So now we'll go ahead and we'll start with you two ladies. Since you've been down that road of marriage and you've been divorced, are you guys in that place of desiring to get married again? Or are you in that thing of if it happens, it happens? Or are you in that place of I'm good on a marriage?
When your ex-husband says he knows and tells you you're the marrying kind, that says something. So yes, I've even after my divorce, I knew that I wanted to be married again. Yeah, that was no question. Now I'm at the point it's taking so long. It's like, all right, it happened when it happened, or if it happened. So but I do desire, yes.
So you want to, I desire it, but you're not thirsty. Your thing is if it happened, it happened. You good?
I was thirsty in the beginning.
Listen.
Oh, I was thirsty in the beginning. I'm not even going to sugarcoat. Look, I was thirsty in the beginning. I've been divorced 7 years, and I told God, I'm like, look, God, I was like, I can't do this like single thing more than 5 years. I was like God, giving him a timetable, and it's 7 years later, and who's still single? Me. God was like, oh no, I'm gonna show you. I ain't detoxed. I ain't, to me, I would say that by the time I divorced, because I was separated before then, that I was over my ex-husband. Still, I had to heal through some stuff. You know what I mean? I had to confront my stuff, right? And all of that stuff. But I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking about, okay, God, where's the next one? Where's the next one? Where's the next one?
What they say, the best way to get over the old one is to get a new one. Well, I ain't gonna say how they said, because they kind of position you in that statement, but we just gonna say get a new one. All right, on to the next. Miss Tiff, I think there she goes.
I'm here. Let me see. Do I want to get married again? I absolutely do. I've been divorced for 2 years. It made 2 years on April the 26th. So this is still kind of fresh for me, but I can say that my divorce was absolutely necessary. It was absolutely necessary. And I've learned so much about myself that sometimes I kind of cringe now looking back because hindsight is 2020. Like, why did that man even marry me? Because I have learned so much about myself. So yeah, I do desire to be married again, but right now, God has me in such a healing place, where when I tell you everywhere I walk, there's a mirror where he's showing me. And it's like, wow. So it's like when that time comes, like I'm not in a rush. I'm not in a rush because I think he's preparing me for when that time does come, if it ever comes, that I would honestly be ready, and I won't make a lot of the mistakes that I just thought that I didn't make. I just thought I was this perfect woman. But baby, I'm gonna tell you, these last 2 years, he just been like, you thought you was good there? Nah. So but yes, I do desire marriage. Not in a rush, enjoying life, even with the good, bad, and the ugly. I'm enjoying me.
So before we go forward, I want to address our comments we got over here in the chat. Congratulations, Miss Marsha, and happy early Mother's Day to you. I did not know. She was letting us know that she raised her nephew from 3 days old till he'll be 27 in August, and he's a CPA. So she raised him, got him on the right track, and he got his career. Come through, Auntie Mama Marsha. And then Miss KB, which I believe is my girl Carmen, who was on our show before as well. She dropped in the comments 8 equals new beginning. So maybe it's on the way, Miss Danielle.
I received that.
Listen, mine ain't been no 8 years. I ain't never been married. And the last time I was in a relationship was Houston, we got some problems going on around these parts. I had to have a come to Jesus moment with Jesus. Like, listen, what we doing? So, Miss Tangi, do you desire to be married, or are you in that state of if it happens, it happens, or is it one of them things like I'm good? I'm gonna just ride this out.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to be married. I don't know if I could be committed. I've never been a cheater. I just don't know. How it's like you've wanted something, or you desire something, or for so long, and it, like you said, like Danielle said, it's taking so long to happen, and Monique said it's taking so long to happen. It's kind of like that, right? Like, I mean, I'm a woman.
Listen,
I'm a woman. I'm human.
Right.
We get itches. I get itches. That desire to be scratched. But I just have to be honest.
Wait.
She keeping it real. Come on, Tangi.
Dear sponsors, don't drop me before you pick me up.
I'm gonna take a sip too.
Go ahead, take your sip, Danielle. Hey, I respect my girls panel. I know. Hey, but I'm just saying, like, but what makes me wonder, like, we just, like, as Black women, we just don't see a lot of healthy relationships sometimes. And that does not inspire me. But I also don't want, I do want to mate. I do want companionship. I was telling Monique earlier today. I don't know if I told you this, or maybe I shared with him. There's another app that I'm involved in, and his panel today was dating after the pandemic. he's 50 and he's going back into the office in a few weeks, and he also wants to start back dating. And he says now that he's 50 and spending a year in the house after the pandemic, his perspective on dating is totally different. His expectations are totally different. And he wanted to know, were his desires and wants and expectations extreme? And I'm like, absolutely not. So it's just like, um, that was refreshing to see a man voice that. But for me, I just wondered, like, I have not been inspired by anybody's relationship.
Mm.
I'm just keeping real with you. I've seen some females have really dope husbands, but they're really not so good wives, and vice versa. I'm just not inspired. So it's like, I don't know.
Well, I admire your honesty. But I think that's kind of like the problem with the world. We kind of mirror our lives around what we see. And you know what I'm saying? And we kind of look at people as role models and be like, I want that. But to be honest, you don't see everything that goes on in that house. You don't see the ugliness, because a lot of people used to look at my marriage and be like, man, I want that. They thought we were so cool. I mean, in which we had a coolness, but we had a lot of ugliness going on too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So for you, it will be, I just want to give you encouragement to say that you're your own individual. You create what you desire. Like, don't go looking or seeking somebody else's stuff, because we could be looking and saying, I want that, and not knowing that we're asking for the good and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know the full spectrum of that relationship. So
I
yeah.
want to, yeah, I want to piggyback because I didn't know if I could ask a question, because I started to ask Tangi, I started to ask you a question in the middle, well, not in the middle, but of what you were saying. I was going to ask you pretty much what Tiffany is saying. Have you ever sat down to write down or think about what you wanted? You know what I mean? Because I know I have to find it or go back to it, or maybe make a new maybe make a new list. Think about what you would want your marriage, your partner, your husband to look like, to reflect. You know what I mean? Because there is somebody out there for you. God has somebody for you, but you have to know what you want. You know, and what you are deserving of. You know what I mean? And like Tiffany was saying, but remember, there's two sides to every person, and you're gonna be whoever that is, you're gonna be joined to them, but you got to remember you're two imperfect people being perfected. So it's not gonna be peaches and cream all the time, but there's definitely somebody out there. And I think that desire is there to have a husband. Well, I don't know, to have a husband, but like you said, you want companionship. I think that's all of us. Because that desire right there, if we're not careful, can get us in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all touched on so many things that I want to come to. I want to also keep engaging with our viewers here in the chat. Marsha dropped a comment and said, I've been practicing, I can't even get it out. I've been practicing abstinence for 20 years and I still want to be married. If I don't, I know God is going to continue to take care of me. Listen, Linda. I feel like, well, you push pause, especially when you've been active, especially if you had some good activities, and you push pause, waiting on God for a long time. I just feel like the blessing should be overloading. You understand me? The cup should run it overflow. So my sister, on your 26th 6 years, I speak overflow, abundance in Jesus' name. And may y'all keep
In
up with each
Jesus'
other.
name.
Hallelujah.
Listen, Marsha, Mama Marsha, listen. May the Lord send you a man like he sent me Idris, okay?
No. I want him to send you somebody, not like he sent her Idris, because Idris technically belongs to another. We want him to be all yours. You understand what I am saying here?
we practice polygamy.
Lies and fairy tales. We ain't doing none of that up here. I waited way too long for Brother Man to come on. He gonna be all mine. Ain't nobody staking claims to that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And you might want to acknowledge me, look at me, and all that stuff before you do him. Hey, Mom. Hi, sir. You don't even need to know his name. He's just hi, sir, or Monique's husband. You know, just it's been a long time coming. And that kind of change ain't coming through here.
Marsha should have been on this panel, though.
Huh?
She should have been on this panel.
She owned it. She right there in the chat. See, this is why I put it out there. It didn't have to just be y'all three. My thing was, hey, if y'all out here, come holler at me. Let's have this conversation. Now, another one of our viewers wasn't able to post the comment, but they sent me a text. And they said they saw this thing the other day, and it said, and this was around the time you were talking about the gentleman panel you was on today, Tangi, how he was saying he's 50 and dating for him is different. She said, the thing says, marry a man who is ready to be a husband, not a man who's simply looking for a wife. And same thing, vice versa. And she also says she's agreeing with the guests and what we're sharing. And I think that is so good, because sometimes, even with us, because even the flip side of that, we want to be married, but do we understand what it means to be a wife? And not just do we understand what it means to be a wife, even if a guy was to ask you to marry him and you just be like, yeah, you know, y'all been dating, things been going good. And you like, yeah, but do you really understand him and what it would mean to be his wife, not just a wife? Because what it took for you to be a wife to this man may be different from what it takes to be a wife to that man, because they're two different people. And this is why I used to have this issue where people used to tell me, like, you ain't married, you don't know, you can't tell me nothing. You married and having problems. So clearly the I do's is not what unlocks the full understanding. The problem sometimes is you don't know yourself, you don't know him, and he don't know him, he don't know you, and y'all trying to put something together, but ain't nobody willing to make do what it do. So the problem is y'all don't even have a foundation straight, but y'all got vows and you still having issues. So clearly, like I said, it ain't the certificate, it's not the I do's and all the special woo-woos you put with it, the ceremony you had, the thousands of dollars, the hundreds of dollars that you spent on this little ceremony, whether y'all did it in the backyard with some White Castles for the reception, whatever y'all did, y'all still having issues. So don't be knocking on some you don't know because you ain't married. I don't know what it's like to be in your marriage because I'm not married to your husband. But there are fundamental principles and foundational things that I feel like if everybody knows going into marriage, it'll make it easier. I'm not saying you won't have arguments, you won't disagree. You two different people. You understand what I'm saying? You have to find how to blend that thing. You got this amount of milk and you got this amount of chocolate syrup. You got to learn the right amount to put in there to make the perfect chocolate milk. You understand what I'm saying? So that, let me come back off my rant.
That was powerful.
Not only do you have, sometimes we're ready, we say, I'm ready for marriage, I'm ready to get married. And I remember saying this back in my 20s, I'm ready to get married. But I realized even more recently, sugar, if you'd have got married then, you'd probably be divorced, dead, or locked up.
Locked up.
I'm just saying. I wasn't been more ready. I had a desire for marriage, but I was nowhere near ready to be married. And I'll say, honestly, I think I could have got married in the latter couple of years or so and been okay. But I'm this year, today, I'm different from who I was this time last year, a year from today. And not like I'm somebody whole nother different. My mindset is different. My compassion level is different. God just recently unlocked another mantle inside of me that I've been fighting for years. And so even that's now opened another dispensation. And I'm like, hold on, Now I navigate through this joker in connection with the other joker. So it's a lot going on. But I feel like I'm in a place where now I can honestly say I am ready for marriage to my husband, not the wrong one, because I don't know what that'll produce. But to the one who really is my husband, I feel like I'm ready. So for me, I'm not, if it happens, it happens. I'm not that one that I'm good. No. I'm the one, and I want to make it clear in case God is listening in this moment. Thinking her wants to be married. I want my husband. I want all of them. You understand what I'm saying? And if he comes sooner rather than later, it'll be all right. It'll be all right with me. But I thought that was good. She said, like Tiff said about looking in the mirrors, you got to look at yourself too. And she also said, oh, no. She said she's divorced also, and she still wants to be married again. You know, I think that is so dope, especially hearing from the three of you ladies that you've been married before and still desire to get married, because you hear some people who are married and be like, oh, if you know, like I know, you will stay single. Maybe it's not marriage, it's the union you're in. You know what I'm saying? That's one. Two, then it's this thing of come on, Marsha, say she ready. Listen, honey, if you wasn't ready, Marsha, I was gonna tell God you was. 20. Matter of fact, I'm willing to tell God I'll wait 5 more days for you to go ahead of me.
You know what? You know what? Now that's called not being selfish.
You tell Marsha. You tell Marsha. I hear September in my spirit. September in my spirit, honey.
Come on.
I don't know. I hear September, girl. Get ready.
And on the 6th day, he can send Mo, her husband. So on the 7th day, they all can chill.
Come on.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna tell you something.
Now they're gonna be too busy. Tiff, they're gonna be too busy.
Listen, somebody call my spiritual mother and tell her once I say I do, I'm taking the whole year off. Don't ask me to pray, preach, prophesy, write a book, read a scripture, nothing. Right. Whole 365 days, I'm good. Trust me, I'm good.
That is funny. But you know what I want to say real quick. I desire to be married, and so out of desiring to be married, the one thing we have to do is not make that desire a God. You know what I mean? To make it, because we can desire a thing. There's some people who desire things, but they make that thing the chase, the accomplishment of it, the God. And but I desire to be married, I think, again, because even though I wasn't, Tiffany, like you, I'm like, Lord Jesus, I was a hot mess, but I've learned so much about myself and about marriage and relationships in general that I know that it's bigger than me. It's bigger. It's so much bigger than me, so much bigger than my husband. You know what I mean? Whomever he is, and however God is gonna join us together and fit us. I know that is bigger, and so I'm looking forward to whatever that is. So yeah.
Yeah, Marsha said, with respect to the 26 years, I'm beyond ready. She said September is her month. Now, I don't know if she's saying September is when it'll be,
I heard September in my spirit.
I was just going to say, or she was just claiming your September that, he had you to drop out there for her to receive it. So it was something else that I wanted to say, though. It was about the being married. I can't think of what it was, but one of the things I wanted to say earlier was I wanted to do this again with not just single women, but just women in general, and talk about just life, relationship, womanhood, all that kind of stuff. But one day, Carmen recently had put up a post on social media. I can't remember if it was her anniversary or something along those lines, but it was how she spoke about her husband, and how I lightweight want to be a little hood and have y'all just talk about something while I go look to put it up, but then I had to ask her permission to share it. but it was so good. It wasn't like her marriage had been, she was saying it had been, everything had been perfect and all good, but she talked about their patience with each other. She talked to Carmen. If you still on here, when you hear this part, can you go get that? But now you might have to get off your device. Just type whether or not I got permission to go find that post and share it. But it was so good because she talked about their dynamic and even how he was. I just feel like I'm gonna chop it up. It was good, but it was kind of like
I know what you're talking about.
How he played a role in her becoming the woman she is today, and she kind of talked about her journey. And I was like, oh, now that right there, that's that butter love. It was absolutely beautiful, and it wasn't painting this rosy picture where everything was Edie Slow Charm butter pecan ice cream every day. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it was the jewel in their union, and that was so amazing. And so even though we're on this line and we're talking about some of those things, one of the things that I had saw out there, we talk about dating, said, without blaming your ex, what should you have done different in your last relationship?
Who want to go first? I'm gonna go last.
Lord Jesus.
Wait, did you just check out and put yourself in the last spot?
I'll put my last.
The Bible, don't the Bible, Danielle, say something about the last shall be first?
Shall be first.
The first shall be last.
In your phone, when you were looking for me and strolling down to, tag me, I was last.
Oh my goodness. You want to go take
I had a lot of growing up to do. And when people like every now and then somebody asks why, because me and my kid's father, we have we don't like each other, but we do like each other. You know what I'm saying? We work past it. Even though our kids are grown, we do have grandkids, and we still keep it healthy and respectful. But I don't think there was one particular reason why we didn't make it. We were young. We had two different mindsets.
Push pause, because the question said without mentioning your ex.
Oh, without mentioning my ex? Okay.
Oh, I thought you said blaming. I thought you said blaming. Okay.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of growing up to do. I'm a major procrastinator. I had a lot of growing up to do. Even now, I probably ain't ready for a marriage anyway. I get look, the tenant ready to move in, but the unit need to be renovated.
That's the word. That's the word, baby.
Go on, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Tiffany.
Okay, yeah, because I can be kind of long-winded when it comes to my stuff. Okay. Let's go. Should I go? You want me to go, or you gonna go? Okay.
Go ahead.
It's on me. I guess it's on me. What have I learned? So the show is about dating after 40, right? Mm-hmm. And I was married for 20 years. And like I said, it's been 2 years since I've been divorced. And this journey of dating at 40 or after 40, because I'm 40 plus like you, I have learned so much about myself. And it's like dealing with someone new after dealing with somebody you've been used to is an adventure of its own, because it's like the newness of trying to get to know each other. And I discovered that men play a lot of games. Just because.
I can't hear you. Yeah. We can't hear you. Mm-hmm. You're not froze. We just can't hear you.
Oh, you can still hear me.
There you go.
Not to go into too much detail, but dating after 40, again, has made me look at myself, because I have found in certain situations, some of these men were regurgitating what my ex was saying to me about our marriage. And I'm like, these people don't really know me, like they like your communication sucks. I understand you always want to be a go-getter, a helper, but I'm still trying to connect with you and you just on the go. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, wait a minute, you don't know me, but you kind of saying some of the stuff that my ex was saying to me. So it's like, okay, God, well, what is it? And it's like all those years that I was married, I just thought that I was this perfect woman. Well, I ain't gonna say just totally perfect, but I just thought I had it together because I was a fighter for man. You know what I'm saying? But not really realizing my own flaws, my own stubbornness. And I got married young. I was 21. I mean, what do you really know about marriage at 21? What do you know? You don't know a whole lot. Again, it goes back to that thing where I said, Tangie, don't try and mirror your relationship off of somebody else, because all I was doing was mimicking what I saw at home. Honestly. That's all I was doing. I was mimicking what I saw at home. Like my mother is the matriarch of the family. So I grew up with that matriarch spirit. She always helped everybody. I grew up with that help spirit. You know what I'm saying? She made sure that things was, she was on top of things and, she had control of stuff. I grew up with that same spirit, not knowing that a man's supposed to lead, guide, and provide. And my father was a provider. He was all of that. But I saw my mama on the go and my mother taking care of stuff. So I had to realize, like, wow, you didn't allow a lot of the times for this man to step up and be the man, because you was in go mode of doing what you saw from your younger years. You know what I'm saying? Because you thought that's what marriage was. And in that, you didn't realize that sometimes you may have been controlling. A lot of times you didn't want to listen. A lot of times you didn't take the other person's feelings into consideration. So dating after 40 and dealing with certain situations made me turn and look at myself. That's why I say, y'all, I'm walking and it's like a mirror popping up and I'm like, ooh, no, that ain't me. That is not me. But I'm learning so much about me. And it kind of took me back to a position where I had to go and apologize to my significant other. Because we still have a great relationship. And it's like, dang, so when you was telling me that was really the truth. And I'm just like, wow. So that's why I said it was necessary. And it's like, nobody wants to get a divorce, but I feel like it was a blessing in it, but the divorce was the curse. Like, I wish I would have known what I know now. And I believe there would have been a possibility that we could have possibly saved our marriage. But because I didn't know what I know now, it's like, wow. So I'm just like, man, God, just keep showing me, even if I don't even look, just because I just want to be ready, to be positioned, to be that godly wife that he wants me to be for my husband. Like, I want to be able to come into a space and fulfill him, and he fulfilled me, our being, together as one. And whatever it is that God has us to do in life, that we complete that journey together, but we are enjoying it. And then especially now, like, I ain't got no babies. I got the grandkids, but I don't have no babies. Like, it's time to turn up. Like, I'm looking back like I probably should have been getting married now. I feel like, wow, did we waste our time? But time is never wasted, because God redeems the time. So it's like, come on, Tiff, like, you better pay attention now, fix what needs to be fixed so that you can be positioned. But here's another thing. What if God say your time is up? You know what I'm saying? Can I still be fulfilled? I still can be fulfilled, because it's like, I still want to be able to connect with other people who may be struggling in their marriages or their relationships. You know what I'm saying? I believe that that time in my life will serve for a purpose. And I just want to help others. You know what I'm saying? If I can help you, help yourself. You know what I'm saying? In your marriage or in your relationships, or even just dealing with, just accepting your ugliness. You know what I'm saying? Now, Tangie, you say women ain't ugly, but we can be ugly in the inside. We can, you can
Right.
and see,
you can
and
all this stuff.
and I had this conversation with myself earlier, and the reason why, and I know this is off topic, but just to just piggyback off of that or whatever, is that I don't think I'm coming into the realization that God don't make no junk. You know, remember that little picture that was in your wall when you was little? God don't, on your grandma's wall. God don't make no junk. I know that God don't make any junk. We junk it up, and so I don't think that God has made anybody aesthetically ugly in that sense. But our toxic attributes make it ugly. And now I am kind of looking at you like, I know some females that are aesthetically beautiful, but when I look at them, I vomit a little bit in my throat because your soul is ugly.
You gotta eat
That's true though. I don't know about the throwing up in my throat, but it's true.
I mean, when you come in contact with some toxic demons, baby, you will throw up in your throat because you got, let me get you up out of me.
I hear you. So
Sorry, Monique.
For me, I wish that I would have my mindset about marriage was wrong. First of all, I don't know if I should blame my mom because I used to make a mean. She taught me how to make.
Can't blame nobody.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a joke. Really. Okay.
Stop blaming your ex. What should you have done different in your last relationship?
Okay, it was a joke. It was a joke anyway, because my mother said it was a joke. About I used to make a mean cup of coffee for her before she went to work, and her statement was to me when I was younger, she said this cup of coffee is good, you're gonna make a good wife. And I was like, oh, that's what it takes to make a good wife.
A cup of coffee.
That's a cup of coffee. And let me tell you, even though that saying or that statement stayed in my mind, what I thought marriage was fairy tale. And not that I dreamt about, what my husband was going to look like. Oh, he was going to be this, whatever. I didn't have that kind of thought as a little girl, but as a young adult, because I got married young as well, and had my daughter, actually most of my kids before I even got married. It was fairy tale. And so our reasons as individuals were different for the reasons why we got married. So I would have wanted to have known what marriage was really about, took the time to know. And I really don't remember having those good examples either before me. However, I think that my mindset, I wish I would have been more mature, because again, I did things backwards. I had my family, then I got married, then we bought a house. And so everything was like kind of in reverse for me. And so I was still a teenager. I was still that unhealed little girl. I was still, that abused little girl, so there were anger issues, there were undealt with wounds, there were, just not knowing myself in the fullness. And that's why I say when I started, it wasn't until after my divorce that I really began to know me for me, because going from having a kid at 18, I was never alone. I was never alone from the age of 18, walking across the stage, big belly. I graduated, yes, but here now a whole nother part. You know, I was never, ever alone, ever. And so that's going back to even the empty nesters. It was hard for me because I had never been alone. So starting over upon my separation on my way to divorce, that was hard. That was a hard time for me. Do I love it now? Absolutely. And yes, I have my grandson part-time, but it's like, because that introvert part of me is like, you know, I just want to be in the confines of the walls by myself, just to kind of, you know, like take off that cape, you know. But I wish my mindset and my idea of marriage was different, and that I would have healed, you know, as a person, you know. But just like Tiffany was saying, I've also stated it in other places that God does show you in his mirror. So it's not just a mirror, it's his mirror. He's gonna show you all that stuff, your ugliness, you know, where you went wrong, and you know, and your idiosyncrasies, and you know, all the places that you've fallen short. And it's not to, you know, demean you or to come down on you, but it's to show you, because God knows who he created us to be and how we should be. And so we have to have something to measure our current selves by, in order to become who he wants us to become. So yeah, that whole process is something else. I'm at the tail end of it. And we never stop learning, right? We never stop healing. We never stop. None of that never stops. We never arrive. At least I don't. I don't know about nobody else, but I'm ever learning, right? So, you know, but I'm grateful for, I'm grateful, like you said, Tiffany, I'm grateful for it. It was hard, but it's a purpose in it. It's a purpose.
That's good. So let me chime back to our viewers, because I got comments coming from everywhere. So Marsha did confirm what she was talking about. She was saying September is the month that she said she's wanted to get married in. So she had already claimed that that's her month. So you know, you pick that up and drop that out. We just gonna go ahead and speak that into existence. Number one.
Right, Marsha.
So I also heard back from Carmen, found the post and was given permission to read it. And it says, one solid thing my sister gave me as advice was, it gets greater later. And she has a picture of her hubby in the post. And it says, this man worked 2 jobs to purchase my first ring. We didn't have a wedding, let alone a big wedding. So I figured I at least deserve that. Hush and keep reading, she says. We made it the first few years and I wanted a bigger ring. Bigger in all caps. She said he obliged and got it. However, also during those first years, I lost a job. I struggled living in my new dynamics. We moved. I needed a new car. Kids graduated. Like literally, life was happening. I don't want to say his name, but it says his name, hubby, pushed me to keep my promises, not only to myself, but to my family. We were growing together. My nagging pushed him into the man we see today. His responses produced the woman you see today. The rings really mean nothing. They do, however, remind me from where we started. Happy anniversary, love. Let's keep counting. I thought that thing was so dope. Because she was honest about where she was. She was honest about her position and her posture throughout the marriage. She was honest about her mindset and her focus at times. But the thing that I loved about it was that when she said it's the thing, I can't even scroll. It's just finding this. I took a screenshot of it. He pushed her to keep her promises, not only to herself, but to our family. And it was one of those things where you hear women talk about at times how, you know, their husband doesn't support it. Doesn't support what they're doing. Like they want to go back to school and he like, how you going to go back to school this? Or you have some men who don't want wives that, you know, work. And so they have an issue where you start a career. And then if your career takes off and positions you financially where you're out earning him or whatever the case may be, or maybe your availability at home changes. Sometimes you hear people speak about how they have struggles in those areas. And I thought that was so dope that it was like, I'm not just going to remind you of the promises you made to our family, but let me remind you of the ones you personally made to yourself. And I thought that was so dope and amazing. And then she said, my nagging helped, see who he was, but his responses are what shaped and formed the woman you see today. And so I thought that was so great, because even how we talked about it in there, like how we talked about whether or not we were really ready for marriage, we desired it, but are we really ready? Here it is in the sense of, you may not have fully been all the way there, but now you're in this situation where it worked. We managed to work through, we grew together. I think she said that in the post. It was this thing of we grew together. So it's like growing pains alone ain't easy when somebody helping you just with your own. But when you have growing pains and I have growing pains, and we got to grow not just individually, but we got to grow together collectively, and we both having these pains at the same time, I'm not the best sick person. I want to be babied. I don't want to have to do nothing. When my grandmother was alive, when I got sick, I always wanted to go to her house. Why? Because grandma took care of me. She'd be like, just go crawl in the bed. I don't even know what was wrong, but we was going to get some Robitussin, some Father John, a hot toddy, some soup and crackers. You got to get under the good warm quilts that only come out for certain things or whatever the case may be. Like, she babied you. Tell everybody leave her alone, don't ask her to do nothing. Like, it was the love and the nurturing that you received in that moment. And so for me, whenever I get sick or something going on, I kind of expect that. You know what I'm saying? So I can only imagine the growing pains that I've gone through getting to the threshold of 40, let alone talking about being past the threshold of 40, having to go through that with a man going through his growing pains as well. So I thought this was a great, great, great testament to that. And Marsha even agreed. She was like, that's it. And then we got some more that came in. Hold on. So I'll call her my texter. I don't know if she's anonymous because she either her setup won't allow her to comment on there, or she texted me because she don't want her comment out there. So I don't want to say her name. But to my texter, they said, I think my superwoman complex took over trying to do it all and be all for everyone but my ex.
That too.
Yeah.
You hear men say things like that, like, I feel like you neglect me. And I just talked about that when I was saying sometimes in marriage, once a woman, if the dynamics change, you come in one way, and then again, that whole growing thing. I was okay at one point in my life being, she said, you can say my name, Miss Nicole. So it was like when you came in, I was okay with being a housewife because maybe this was the image, as Tiffany said, not that this is the image, but you mirrored marriage according to what you saw. So you had this idea that being a wife was, I'll stay home, I'll cook, I'll clean, I'll raise the kids and all of this. But after about 6 months of that, you was like, look, you can raise these kids by yourself, wash your own clothes. And if you ask me to cook again, everything I cook gonna be Cajun, heavy on occasion, or black inside. You understand what I'm saying? And so that mindset changes, but this is what you started out with. And so now he's like, hold on. So now you switching this thing up on me. So even in this thing, you literally, I've heard conversations that people have had about in their unions where he feel like he's not getting enough time, or not Tiffany. I don't know if this was a conversation in your marriage, but when I tell you your feet was always to the pedal, I mean, like, she was running for everybody, doing everything, but you also did, in my opinion. I wasn't in your house, I wasn't your husband, so I don't get to speak to it to that degree, but I also saw firsthand what you did for your household, your family, and for your husband, but you were always moving. And honestly, I don't know if that was ever something that he would say, but from the outside looking in, if I didn't know what all you did do in your home and for your spouse at that time, I could see where just your movement could have produced that type of atmosphere, one. But two, one of my concerns for you as your friend watching your life was always, when the heck do you take time for yourself? You know what I'm saying? When I tell you this woman ran, I met her through her husband. We were at a place together. I don't even want to call it whatever. We were at this place together. Wait, let me say what it is so people think it's inappropriate. We were attending the same ministry. Mm-hmm. And she wasn't there, he was there. My position in the ministry caused me and him to start working together because of his position in the ministry. My thing was, you a whole married man, I need to meet your wife. Because when I'm calling you and I'm texting you, because the way the leadership stuff was ran there, I'm texting and calling. It's all ministry, but it can be a lot. You know what I'm saying? I need your wife to know I don't want you. I'm not trying to be with you. If you ain't safe around no other woman, you safe around this one. You understand what I'm saying? And so we actually started to work on a youth ministry together. And so when we were having a meeting, we went back to their house so that we could meet her. And it's so funny because after meeting her that first time, that one time we went to their house, that's when me and her connected, because now she started doing all the stuff he was supposed to be doing, she was doing, which meant now I'm still talking to him about the in-house ministry stuff, but it formed a relationship between me and her. So now I'm in this position where I'm seeing this thing firsthand, and I'm like, good God, this girl don't ever sit still. And she ain't doing this, she doing that. Then you gotta be home, you gotta do all it. Like, it was just a lot. Oh my God. So I think that is really, really something that, thank you for sharing that, Nicole. I think that was really, really good in seeing. And it's like, so in all these things that you guys have shared about the thing that, and I can't share mine because my last relationship was so long ago, I really don't remember. I don't even remember who or how I was in that relationship. So we're just going to chuck it up under praise God for growing in grace. Amen. But out of all the things that you guys have shared about what should you have done different in your relationship, do you feel like, I know you talked about you seeing yourself, you're learning more. I think some of that comes with age or whatever the case may be. But what is it that you would say to someone else? Because you said, Danielle, that you wish you knew what marriage was before getting married. So what can we do today to help others not go into this thing without knowing what it is? Like, I'm not married. I can't tell them what my experiences were. I could just talk to you about the foundations and what God said, what thus saith the Lord about marriage. I can give you that. You understand what I can't tell you how not to crack it, because I'm gonna have to work that out in my own marriage. But what is it that we can do, or you feel like we can do, to kind of help with that, to prevent? There's some things that going in, and it's not even so much as about marriage, but about knowing ourselves, about understanding what it means to connect with somebody. So let me rephrase that whole thing. Just erase all that. I'm hot. I'm sorry. My air ain't kicked on and my fan ain't on. I got on this jacket, and I'm having some stuff going on right now. Mentally, I'm having a moment, but I don't want to get up and be ghetto. But I digress. What is it that you're doing to help you understand yourself more so that you'll be ready for marriage when it presents itself?
Good question. I take that time to, in my singleness, I've taken that time, even through like that short period of desperation, and even in the loneliness and where I wanted companionship, right? Because I still wanted companionship. I really, really got with myself to really learn myself. So if there was something that that I was doing, or something that occurred, if I was watching a show or whatever it was, and something like, oh, like I noticed something about myself, I would take note of that thing and just like, oh my God, or like, I didn't know I really like this, or I could, just to get to know myself, but then also without even having a prospect for a husband, right? Just being in a word, just finding out like, not going off of like Boaz and, all these other, I mean, there's characters in a word, but no, just really like lining up the character of Christ. Like how, if I saw a man today, like, what do I have to gauge, him by, like, that he would even be a potential, this is even after a situationship, Lord Jesus. But, like, I need something to gauge a prospect by. But so I'm really spending that time with myself, getting to know myself. And also nowadays, there are social media, kind of avails a lot of I guess groups, ministries, and all that stuff related to marriages. And because you can't really see what goes on, like Tiffany was mentioning earlier, what goes on behind closed doors, right? Mm-hmm. But try to find a group, right? Even if you have one at your ministry, find a group for singles, or a group for those who desire marriage, right? Become a part of that group. Vet it though. Make sure it's vetted first, to make sure it aligns with your morals, with your beliefs. And I would become engaged in that, because you can learn a lot from that. But again, be careful, because you just don't want to be becoming a part of any old thing. Find some, again, some of us were saying we didn't have that example before us in our own lives. Find somebody that looks opposite of maybe what you've seen, and sit down. A lot of us, and I won't say a lot of us, but there's a lot of the younger generation who kind of sweep the older generation to the side as if they don't have wisdom to share with us, but they got a lot of wisdom to share with us about how to go about doing a thing. Now, their way of doing things may be a little bit different than ours, but you can tweak that, because everybody's prescription for their marriage and their relationship is different, right? So I would do that, and just, but for me, that's what I'm doing. And so I'm saying that it's because that's what I'm doing. I'm actually being that voice of lesson and wisdom from what I've learned, being single again after being married. So I'm sharing that, right, through writing, through lives, and also just being, again, a part of vetted social media groups, or gaining wisdom from live people, real, for real, like people. You know what I mean? I think that's the way that you can prepare. And again, like we were talking to Tangi, write down, what your standards are, what your expectations are. And they may not all get fulfilled, across the board, but at least you'll have a gauge that you won't just accept any old body,
And not just write them down, understand them. Like, get you some standards, understand, set you some boundaries. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And stay the course. Now I got a couple of other things that I want to ask you guys, so we got to kind of speed up our response. I don't want to rush you though, but because I want to get through the comments and questions that came in from the chats and stuff as well. But go ahead, Tiff and Tangi.
I would say to prepare, the question is, how do you prepare yourself for that? I would say master yourself, learn yourself, understand yourself, judge yourself, be accountable to you, for you.
Come on here.
So when you meet your potential mate, or even if you're just dating, you understand what you're looking at. you know, and you're not going into a relationship broken, mentally and emotionally unhealthy, unsure of yourself, and now your you're taking your baggage, and we all have baggage, right? The difference is there's a difference in having baggage and having baggage. You know, everybody comes with their own little nuances, but just be healthy mentally and emotionally when you go into another relationship. Know yourself. Be accountable for yourself. Don't go into a relationship um, thinking that this person is going to complete you. No, they're only a added ingredient to the entree. You
Come
know,
on.
people don't fix people. You know, so don't be somebody else's project.
That part.
Say that. Yes.
Now, ain't nothing wrong with getting into a relationship or a marriage and you help each other grow and you help heal each other in some areas. There's nothing wrong with that. But you cannot go, and I'm speaking to myself, you cannot go into a relationship and think and you just completely broken. And you just completely don't know nothing about yourself, thinking you finna have a healthy relationship. It's just not gonna happen.
At all.
Well, I'm gonna say everything that both of the ladies said, um, but I'm gonna say fulfill your being. That's just it. You got to know who you are, whose you are, what you're doing, what your purpose. Fulfill you first. Make sure that you're full, complete, and whole before trying to connect with someone else.
Man, listen.
You
Yes.
can close it down right now, Monique. Go ahead, partner.
Absolutely. That was a drop the mic.
May the Lord watch.
May the Lord watch and bless and keep.
Indeed.
So I think we're gonna have to do a part two because it's so much more that came up that I even wanted us to talk about. But Nicole had to drop off. She was like, "Thanks for including me," but she sent one and she said, in her current relationship, she allows herself to be vulnerable with him. Something she didn't do well with her ex-husband. Listening for God's voice in her decisions and choices, and no longer trying to be superwoman. Listen, this one was loaded because some of us can't be vulnerable. And one of the things that I also want to talk about when we got into relationships was other relationships that we have, not just dating man woman type thing, but what's kind of the worst relationship that you've had, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes that's between you and your parent, or you and your child, or you and your best friend, or you and an ex-best friend, or whatever the case would be. Like, who we are today, how are we faring in our other relationships? You know what I'm saying? Even how we talked about, me and Tiff both joked about, well, I was serious, she might have been too, but how we don't have circles, we have dots. Like, and I used to say that because my thing was, those that I consider to be a part of the dot, I consider to be solid. But there was something recently that came up in my life, and I was asked, like, who can stand in this for you? And I was like, in that capacity, I don't know. You know what I mean? So to me, that spoke volumes. So when she's mentioning here about being vulnerable with him, like, I think sometimes life and our experiences have made us be so tough and strong that we can't show emotions in public. You know, that whole thing, never let them see you sweat. Don't let nobody see you crying so they feel like they broke you, they got you, and all this, that, and the other thing. God doggone it, what you did hurt. What you said hurt.
Right.
What you said and did hit me at my core. And it don't make me a punk because it hurt. It hurt. When the blow came, it was meant to hurt, whether that was your intention or not. That thing packed the way that it was packed came out and it hurt. And I just hope, for me, I've always stared myself on being an honest person. Like, I'm gonna tell you what I feel. I may try to add a little sweetener to it because I'm a real blunt person, and just in my casualness I can offend people unintentionally because I'm so honest. But as I've gotten older, my thing is I have more compassion for you, and I might even have to tell you, give me a minute, let me figure out how to get this out. Because what I've learned is the older I get, my mouth and my mind move quicker than my filter. So I done already been in this situation, and my mouth is responding according to what my mind was thinking, and my filter is still like, oh shoot, that's my cue. We didn't already release like, oh, you
on delay.
Houston, we got all kind of problems, but I think that is so interesting. And think about like, do you guys have that place where you feel like you can be vulnerable? Do you really feel like you can be completely vulnerable in your circle, in your dot? Do you have that person where I don't have to, I can really be me, and even in my full honesty and rawness, it don't make you question whether or not I'm saved, whether or not I'm called, whether or not you're a pastor, whether or not you're a prophet, whether or not you really love it. Can you, because I've had some moments where I'm quite sure people wanted to ask, can you even spell Jesus in this moment? Like, they were epic, like explosive. But do you guys feel like you have that? Because I think that's key. We in our 40s, like, sure, the rest of this journey is still glorious and beautiful, but I can use a little help getting up and doing some things. I'm not as quick and sharp as I used to be in every single area, but there are still some great things that are going on. Do you guys feel like you have that safe place to be 100% vulnerable?
I think I do. I'm like y'all. My circle is a dot too, but it's sliced in a few different, triangles. But I believe and you know why I say that is because I'm the type of person you gonna get what you see. Like, there's nothing, ain't what you see is what you get, rather. Like, there's no, I'm transparent always. So it's like, you're gonna either accept me for who I am or you're not. And if we can't drive together, then it is just what it is. But I believe that those people who, a blink of the people that I am around or with, not all the time, but that I can call if I need to, or we text each other. I believe that I have that place where I can be vulnerable and I can be transparent. I can be me. And again, it's like, if you can't get with that, then it's just too bad. Then you know what I mean? Then we're just not probably meant to be in that capacity, together in that capacity. And it's okay, but yeah, my little dot, we working it. We working it.
A solid dot. Come on.
Solid dot. Absolutely.
Tiff, Tangie, y'all feel like y'all got that?
I do. I feel like huh?
I said that sounded like a little hesitation.
No.
He's still thinking.
I do. I had a situation that happened yesterday. It kind of caught me off guard. That's why I was kind of hesitating. And I consider this person a friend, but we don't know a whole lot about each other. But I think I met her at a job years ago, and our spirits just trying to connect. And I hadn't talked to her probably in 2 years. I had a dream. I couldn't remember the dream. And I got up yesterday morning, and I was like, okay, God will bring it to me in a couple of weeks, or something to prick me and I'll remember it. This person didn't even have my phone number. They called me on Facebook. And they were just crying, and I had this dream, and it was so moving, and I'm just believing God for you, blah, 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 blah. And I just broke down and started crying, like, because the past 2 weeks had been really, really, really blah for me. So even though I have it, You know, even though she's not somebody that I expected to have it with, and she's not the only person that I have, but I do have it. And even if it's just a small dot, you know, I think sometimes, and this is no shade to anybody, I think sometimes we minimize our support by saying our circle is small or it's just a dot. You know, that dot to me means a whole lot, especially when you vulnerable and you having thoughts of going across the hall and choking the mess out of your neighbor because they just a little bit too loud. And it's
Right.
okay though. You know what I'm saying?
We
You
going
know,
right now.
but I do. I have a dot, and I'm grateful.
Well, for me, I do. I have a good support system. Um, and Mo, I would consider you that for me. Um, she's someone that I could call, I could vent, I can just holler, scream, call up and be like, girl, I'm finna go fight and bust some windows out. You know what I'm saying? And, someone I can call and pray with, pray for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, Mo have seen my good, bad, and ugly side, and but she doesn't judge me. And she's one of those friends that's gonna jump right in and start praying because she know
Judge you, friend. I
zero.
just love you still.
She know I can go to 0 to 100 real quick. Her and then I have another friend. I know we're not supposed to say names, but my other friend Fontaine, they seem to keep me more grounded. My family, more so, who's my support system, they seem to kind of ride out with whatever I'm feeling at the time. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be some words of encouragement, but it's still gonna be some,
They gonna put on they all black and they going with you to bust the windows out the car. Yeah,
Like, who's driving?
She got a little hood there.
The other two are gonna, somewhat keep me grounded. And it's like, I wish I could be that for them. I think I have moments where I may be there for them, like how I feel that they are there for me. But that it's like that cape interference because I'm running around trying to be superwoman and a hero for everybody else, that sometimes I'm not always able to be adequately there for my friends like I want to be. So sometimes I tell my friends, like, I don't know how to be a friend. Like, I'm a friend, but I feel like I'm failing in that area because, again, I'm trying to be Shiro and help every single person that someone is falling short. And that was one of the things that I dealt with too in my marriage, where like I wanted to address what Michelle said, just being vulnerable, being open, or she missed that part in her marriage, like that cape would interfere in every area of your life, because you got to kind of realize if you're doing something in a relationship, you're doing that in a friendship too. You know what I'm saying? Because it's your character. It's who you are. You know what I'm saying? So you're moving that way in a lot of your relationships. So just think, like, where he may have thought I failed him, what about my friends who needed me to be there? Well, I wasn't able to answer the phone. They felt like I failed them. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to that self-check thing. And for those who are married or were previously married, don't allow that cape to interfere with your relationships, period. You got to learn how to take that cape off, because you have to realize, like, God created the woman to be the helpmeet for the man. And God also created the man to go out to be the fisherman, right? He was supposed to be the worker. But women, we can talk on the phone, cook the food, wash the clothes, help the kids with their homework, get them ready for school the next day, go out, do the grocery. We were built to do all of these things, but as we're doing all of these things and we're taking on other characteristics of, life, it's weighing us down. And then you got to think about at night, now you got to lay next to that man. So if we're an energy source, all of that we was dealing with is now laying next to this person, you know what I'm saying? And they're feeling that. So you may feel like I love this person, but there's a disconnect there because he feels that energy. Like you're, you know, he's not thinking that you're overwhelmed, but he's just feeling that disconnect. You know what I'm saying? And then when he's feeling that disconnect, he might feel like, well, I need to give her space. So now you're feeling like, well, I can't be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't spread it yourself so thin. You spread it yourself so thin that you don't have enough to give to the people that you're connecting with. So it's like we have to take our time for ourselves. We have to go to that secret place where we can rejuvenate, whether it's going to get a massage or whether it's going to hang out with your girls. And that's another thing. Sometimes I think Christian women, we get so saved where we want to do all of this stuff with the church and all, and we got all this other type of stuff going on. Then when your girlfriend wants to call you, Mo, and be like, let's go out and eat, you don't have time. You don't have time. So you there you go. Now you're spreading yourself thin in another area. You know what I'm saying? Where some people are missing out on you, or maybe he's missing you because you wasn't in the place where God intended you to be, so he can see you. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot.
Or you don't let yourself go so bad till he walks straight past you because he like, ugh.
But again, like you said, ain't no woman not beautiful.
No, that's not what I said.
Okay,
no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking to myself. I mean, just because somebody is not attracted to you does not mean that you are still not beautiful. You know, I've seen
a diamond in the rough.
Yeah.
So you was in the store with your rollers and your scarf on.
Don't y'all go to the store with no rollers and scarves on, and don't blame the dark gimmick.
I'm not encouraging it, but you know, it's like that's another thing. We get so caught up on the outer appearance of ourselves that when we walk in the room, our presence should just speak. I can have it rollers, but you should be able to see a light on me. You know what I'm saying?
Rollers are a piece of preparation. Preparation is done prior to the exit strategy for the home life. Keep them rollers, your bonnets, your scarves, your do-rags, your pajamas, your house shoes, your duster, your plastic cap, your shower cap. Keep all that at home.
Yeah, but see that we see a lot of those things because a lot of times everybody ain't ghetto. They got on their.
I ain't even call them ghetto. I said keep it at home. That is house.
Well, I call it ghetto. I call it ghetto when I see you in the store with your slippers and your pajamas and that big do-rag on.
But you know what?
I ain't gonna lie. I call it ghetto. But
a lot of times,
Superwoman cake.
That's their cake. Sometimes. Because it's like you.
But most of the time, that ain't no cake. That's just they don't care. Keep that at home.
I think sometimes, but
if this ain't an emergency when you run to get your baby some medicine, put some clothes on, brush your teeth, wash your behind, put that hair in the ponytail if you need to, or if you can't wrangle that stuff, you can get you 2 little French braids and go long down the side. If I snatch this wig off right now, that's exactly what you're gonna see. 2 French braids going to the back. Pull it together. And it's not even about catching a man's eye. It's about being a good representation of yourself. Nothing about you coming out the house with some rollers and a do-rag or whatever, some house shoes, some pajamas, coming out dirty and stanky is not good. Period. Now, if you just don't have no soap at home and that's your general state of life, you always dirty, you always smelling, that's different. That's another situation. And I'm not talking about you in that case. I am praying for you. And if I see you and that's your case, then I'm praying that God will be able to provide for me so that I can assist you in changing that situation. I'm not giving nobody a pass on any of that. We are women and we can do better. Now, if you sit here and say, women not ugly, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to co-sign and piggyback off of that and say you coming outside in your rollers, if you coming out in your prep wear or your night wear is unacceptable, period. Case closed. We can close right there. Listen, I have some other things that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. So I hope you all will come back for part 2 in 2 weeks from now. We'll have the brothers on here and we'll really be digging into dating after 40. What does that look like? What are you willing to do? What are you bringing to the table? All of these other questions that came in that were really, really good. We're going to tap into those next week. I mean, not next week. On the 21st, whether I have this crew and some more, or it's a whole nother crew, or whatever that crew looks like, we will answer those questions. So to those of you that submitted questions that I was not able to get to in this show, because this show was supposed to be an hour long. We've been on here for an hour and 50 minutes. 50 minutes. But
wow.
It's been an amazing, good conversation. Tiffany, one thing that I did want to share with you when you were talking about how you feel like you haven't been able to be as good of a friend to those that you feel like have been that for you. This is why, and then you even said how you, one of y'all brought up how you are in your relationship, or how you are in your marriage, or how you are in your marriage. It kind of reflects how you are in your friendships or other relationships as well. Here's what I want to say. The beautiful thing about that is, even in those relationships, the beautiful part about that is you're not the only friend. So there's a composite of friends. So I hope all of our dots become real solid circles that continue to grow and include people that we can depend on, and we build this sisterhood where people we may never see and hold hands with, but that we can lock arms with in the spirit. That's and it. Wage war on each other's behalf. That's what Layson was about when God first gave it to me, and he has been calling me to bring that back to the forefront. So I am all for sisterhood. I hope we can get to a place where we're not talking about dots. I hope the circle becomes so big that we can't even call it a circle anymore, that we have to create a whole new name for whatever that thing is that we're creating. That sisterhood becomes real sisterhood. I got you, and when I don't have you, let me call one of our other sisters and be like, yo, can you do X, Y, and Z? So the beautiful thing about it is, Tiff, you may not be that to them, but hopefully they have other people in their lives, and the things that you don't represent or reflect for them, they can glean that from others and still value what you do bring to that relationship. I can speak for myself. I do. I value who you are. I may not lean on you that much because I ain't been in nothing that was really that stressful. Praise be the little baby Jesus. But I feel like my circle didn't become a circle. I mean, my dot didn't become a dot because people in my circle weren't trustworthy. I feel like I wore my circle out. They were around in this time when all hell was breaking loose in my life, and I was all kind of all over the place. And some people took as much as they could take, and then they was like deuces. I broke a lot of my friends, like literally. I tapped them out. Everything they had, I took it out of them, and because I was really needy. I had a whole every area of my life. I was suicidal, all of that stuff. So it was a lot going on, and I feel like that's how my circle became a dot, because I kind of wore them out. But I still love them, and I hope they still love me, and they're still praying for me. So I want to say that the difference is, in our marriage, all we have is them. So we have to fight to be who we need to be in that marriage, and we need and even put a demand for him to show up and be who we need him to be in that marriage if that thing is going to work. So that's the difference in that same weight in two different scenarios. In the marriage, it's just me and you, baby. We're gonna have to figure it out. Period. Absolutely. This thing not gonna work. But when it comes to our friendships, our family, and our other relationships, we're not the end all be all. So we can still get those things. But there's certain things in a marriage that my husband can only get from me. Period. So I think this was really, really good and a really, really dope situation. We have learned we got to get that old nasty cape off and learn to just be a woman. We don't have to have all that super. If it's gonna be super, let it be supernatural. Amen. Amen. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me. I have enjoyed this conversation with you guys. I hope you have too. To our guest panelists who were not on the screen, but y'all was in the chat. Y'all were on my phone. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for submitting your questions. Carmen, if you're still out there, thank you so much for letting me read your story. I think that was beautiful. Marsha, next time you need to be part of the panel too, you could be on screen. Let me know. But this was really, really good. And I think we need to have more conversations like this because this is how we heal. This is how we stop losing so much. We don't have to be in competition. I don't care if we both doing the same thing. Listen, if we partner and do this, because at the end of the day, if you doing it and I'm doing it, it didn't come from me or you. That means it came from God anyway. For you to be able to hear the same thing that I heard when we wasn't together, when we heard it, then clearly it's beyond us. So if we come together, then the weight for me to get it done isn't as heavy. It isn't as taxing, and it may not take as god doggone long. So let's just work together and do this thing. We are stronger together than we are tearing each other down, because if you tear me down and don't nobody come help me get back together, then the only thing I'm going to do is now start damaging everybody else that I come in contact with, because hurt people inevitably hurt other people. So let's build, let's heal, let's love, and let's grow. Thank you guys again. To all of those of you who will catch it on the replay, this has been another episode of Confessions and Conversation with your girl, your favorite, whatever the little saying is. What is it? What is
your favorite chick to chit chat with?
Yeah, but it's something between it. It's your girl, your host with the most, your favorite chick to chit chat with, Miss Mo. Thank you for tuning in. Living single and sassy after 40. Join us on May 21st, same time, same back channel, where we'll be talking about dating after 40, and that's going to be our whole focus. So all things dating. Where am I willing to go? What am I willing to do? One question I read on the little social media streets, he said, would you date a man who couldn't afford to spend $200 on dates every week? Hell yeah, because I ain't spending more than $200 on a date every week.
200.
Listen, we ain't even got to spend 100 because we got things to do. So the fact that you're not willing to spend $200 on a date means you putting that money somewhere else and you invested in something that's going to be greater for us anyway. I take it. Look, it don't cost $200.
Absolutely.
And if it costs $200 for me and you to eat somewhere, we can go somewhere else cheaper. Listen, we can
buy some groceries and cook at home or something.
Listen, I know you was about to give the benediction, but let me just say this here real quick. That was one of the things that came up on a panel early today that I was on, and I told him, I said, listen, you don't have to spend $200 on a date. No. If we are in the beginning of the dating phase, I ain't your woman. You ain't my man. There is no commitment. We are getting to know each other. Listen, I love a good cup of coffee. Absolutely. We don't have to go to Starbucks. We can go to a local cafe that ain't nobody ever heard of with a cute little setup, and you can spend $15, $20 because I'm gonna get me a nice drink, and you're not gonna be able to pronounce it because I love coffee. Now you ain't got to spend $200 on that. You can spend $20 on that day that we can sit in that coffee shop. We can have good conversation, and that's what it can be.
Look, Tansy, he can pay a tithe of that.
Run me your 10th, brother. Listen, if we were still back in the shower, you can go to Coleman's, pick it up, and we can swing by. We can chill at the park, at the bench, because you don't need to know where I live. Listen.
Hello. Not yet? Right.
Well, I don't want to rain on y'all parade, and if he wants to spend $200 on dinner, I'm perfectly fine with that.
If he wants.
My thing is, he might be pretty wealthy. You know what I'm saying? We might grow wealthy together. I mean, if he is blessed in that area, we ain't going to McDonald's. We ain't going to Coleman's. No, we're not. We're going to.
It's not a.
If he does, right. It all depends on the situation. Now, that don't mean we have to go out and have a $200 dinner all the time. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes there's blessings, where you can do exceedingly and above, beyond. And then there's times where it could just be just real Starbucks.
That's not the question. The question is, would you get one that couldn't afford to spend $200 every week for dates?
No, not every week. I mean, but if he's rich, I mean,
and even in what we said, it wasn't that you can't spend it. Like I got a problem with you spending $200, but I'm not finna spend $200 on that.
Right.
Sir.
Right.
but again, it's according to his lifestyle. Because what if you do come into a millionaire? What if God has blessed you?
That is well, because he makes
people live different. They do. They.
But the thing is, you don't have to do that to impress anybody, or make sure we have a good time on the date. And
that's the thing.
For less than $200 on the date. You understand what
that's the thing. It's not an impression. I think we're so stuck on the mindset of dating within our realm. But what if God does send you a wealthy man? This is his lifestyle. This is normal.
We're not debating what you're saying. It's not that he shouldn't spend $200. If you can afford it and you want to spend $2 million on our date every week, so be it. I ain't complaining. But the question is, would you date one who couldn't afford to spend that $200? And the answer for me is yes, because I'm not finna spend $200 on no darn date. And I don't. You have to in order for us to have a good day.
Right.
We can't afford. Okay, so I didn't understand it right. That's for your next show. I want to be on that one too.
Right, because I'm not spending $200 a week on groceries. Right. And I think the thing of it is, it's now if you are a millionaire and this is what you're used to, then yes, I'll accept it. But it's not an expectation, nor is it a requirement. Because I don't know if I ever saw the post going around on Facebook. And again, I know Monique wanted to deliver the benediction. She's ready. Listen, but there was a post going around on Facebook talking about if a guy wanted to take you to TGI Fridays for a first date, would you go?
Yes, they got a good shrimp and pasta dish.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying?
They got a drink that I like too.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But you know, hey, I can do TGI Fridays. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? I also can do Ruth's Chris. I can also do Benihana. I still love me some Red Lobster.
Benihana's still around.
Y'all, this is turning into a food.
You know what I'm saying? So
I know I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
I guess the thing is,
I'm hungry. I said
I'm gonna need balance. I need balance. And I guess that's one of my expectations in a man is that he needs to know how to practice balance. He need to know how to say, you know, we can go to TGI Fridays. Oh, let's get dressed up and go downtown. And you're not doing anything outside of your financial capabilities.
Mm-hmm. Or like you said, like Mo said, go to the park one time, like have a picnic lunch or dinner or what have you know what I mean? Mix it up.
Listen, Danielle, that's always been one of my fantasy dates. Going to the lakefront. I know, come on, the may the Lord bless you and keep you, but wait a minute. One of my fantasy dates has always been to go sit up, Danielle, get this word, has always been to go to the lakefront or the beach with a nice soft blanket with a picnic basket, some sandwiches that I make.
The texture of the blanket and everything. Come
on. Some sandwiches. I'm gonna make the sandwiches. It's just gonna be some brown sugar ham, some honey baked ham with some mayonnaise and cheese, with some sandwiches, some potato chips, some fruit, a bottle of wine. Some nice wine glasses.
Mm-hmm.
We got some brother viewers. She can make a mean sandwich, y'all. Listen now.
I can make a mean. You better talk about it, Tiffany. I can make a mean sandwich. You know, with some wine glasses. You know, the dollar store sell them wine glasses, but we can go to Crate and Barrel and get some too. Hey. Balance.
You just got to be careful at the Dollar Tree. You got to really pay attention to them because sometimes they don't be the same size and the makeup. So there's a Mona Hypolite. She said, hey, good evening, Prophetess Danielle. Then she was like, y'all hungry. So she must have gotten the part we were talking about food. And Tiffany, Destiny joined in. She said, hey, y'all. Then she just said, oh, that sounds good. Look, we got everybody hungry. I ain't ate, and y'all tapping into a whole nother vein for me. Right?
I ain't ate all day either.
So the bottom line is there is no, for me, no ballpark that you got to be in on what you're spending on a date. Can we we're dating to get to know each other.
Absolutely.
Are you in a position financially? Am I in a position financially where we can build a healthy life together? That's what we're trying to find out during this phase. So you dropping all this money on these dates that you don't, if you don't have it,
Right.
we could put that to the side and we could invest it. And then by the
Hello.
time we say I do, we got a home paid in full, we got 2 cars paid
That's
in
it.
full, we got money sitting in the bank, we ain't got to work for 2 years, and we can have you understand what I'm saying? So my thing
Yeah.
is be wise in your spending and all of that. Now, if you just
Mhm.
can't if you can't afford to date, then we got a problem.
Mhm.
But I don't have no cap on what you can spend or what you have to spend. Let's just
Right.
enjoy each other. You know what I'm saying? Like Tangy said, let's go get a coffee. We can't get coffee because I can't drink it.
You can get tea.
I can't drink tea. It has
You don't
caffeine.
have to get. You don't.
It's something in it that still stirs up my acid reflux. And even with tea, I'm not one of those where I like the flavor of certain things, so I have to put so much sugar and or honey in it that it is no longer healthy because then it triggers the diabetes. So listen, but bro, we get delivered from all of it. So pretty soon we ain't gonna have to worry about she can't eat this, she can't drink this, she gonna eat, drink, and be married. You understand what I'm
That's
saying?
it. That's it.
Hallelujah.
Brothers, all we saying is to date us, come with an honest, grown man effort. Amen.
Amen.
Man.
And on that note, may the Lord watch. Oh, who said that? Miss
Raise your
Monique, you
hands,
should
y'all.
have been here earlier, girl. We done been on here for 2 whole hours and 5 minutes. Come back
Hey, Prophetess Mona.
on May 21st. We'll be back at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be. Are you coming back there?
Yeah.
You come back, T?
I'll be back.
Tiff already said she was, so it'll be us and then some. So y'all come on out and join. Marsha said let her know. Listen, we may have to do this thing. She said what happened? We see here.
This is the extended version, y'all.
It's good.
And I'm like, we still here. We getting off now. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in on chat. I want to thank y'all who stayed down to the end. You know, I know people have to jump off. We usually try not to make these as long so that people can stay with us. But I feel like it was so good and engaging. Y'all just hung out. So we appreciate it.
Yes.
This was amazing. Thank you, ladies, for your honesty. Thank you, ladies, for sharing and being open. I had a ball. I can't thank y'all enough. And so until
Thank
next time,
you.
anybody have any quick closing remarks before we drop off?
I just want to say thank you for the invite. I think I kind of you set me up for the okie doke, but it's okay. It was a good okie doke. And it was a pleasure being on a panel with you ladies. I really enjoyed you.
Awesome. Same here, guys. Love you all. And to all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Have a blessed week.
Yeah, I had a good time. You know, I wasn't feeling it at first. I wasn't feeling the day at first. It had nothing to do with this. But I enjoyed myself. I got to spend some adult time with some adult women, with some adult conversations. So I am grateful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm gonna do an anonymous after dark show one day. But you know, we're gonna be off the grid. It's gonna be closed caption. In order to participate, it will be in Zoom. It will not be recorded. It will not be televised. Everybody gonna have to take an oath that what goes on in that conversation stays in that conversation. If life offends you, this will not be the show for you to tune into when we have the after dark conversation. It won't be raunchy or none of that stuff, but we might be a little bit more open. Amen. So thank you guys again. God bless you all.
Thank
Have an amazing evening. And as always, keep it kingdom.